This video is to share our paranormal experiences that we had at Pennhurst while we were there doing our tour, taking our photos and shooting our video, which hopefully you've already watched the video, because then a lot more of this is going to make a little bit more sense. Starting off, we'll start with the lesser things, and then we'll get to the end of the video where I made the comment saying it was the scariest moment of paranormal experience we've had in our careers while touring establishments like Pennhurst. I'll shed some light on that. Also, before I get started, I'd like to shed some light on the beginning of the video. Again, hopefully you've already watched that video of us touring Pennhurst. The settings are a little off. I don't always shoot the intro as soon as we get there. I sometimes do it afterwards because I figure out where to exactly shoot the intro to talk about where we're going. I shot it last, so that was the last thing we did before we left Pennhurst, and everything we experienced scrambled our settings in the camera, in the recorder. Everything just wasn't right. So, and we didn't know at the time because I can't look at the videos until we get home and I upload them to our equipment. So I do apologize for that, but this is, again, clarifying up the paranormal experiences that we had at Pennhurst. At Pennhurst, one of the experiences that Brian had was we were outside the one building, looking through the one window, still a little distance away, walking up to the building just to look around. And as he was walking up to the window, it appeared to him what looked like a person on the inside, and as he walked up to the building, it got further away from him. That we don't have on camera because I was actually walking the opposite direction, filming the outside of one of the other buildings, and at that time I thought I heard him behind me, and I turned around to say, "Hey honey," to point something out, and he wasn't there. So then I had to backtrack and find him, and when I found him, he told me what had happened. The next experience we had was we were in Mayflower Hall. We were on the second level, walking down the hallway, and you hear me tell him to shush. At that point, off to the room on my right-hand side, I heard footsteps walking around. My hand was covering part of the microphone, so we were unable to catch that, but we did hear what I thought was footsteps in the room off to the right-hand side. Shh. I caught it. There's steps coming from that room. We're able to catch two things on the tape recorder this time when we were at Pennhurst, and I'm going to play both of those for you.
There's an abandoned bathroom. Yes. Want to start opening the stall door?
Abandoned turds.
Start opening the stall door. Find something.
That odd cackle that you hear after we're talking about the abandoned turd in the abandoned bathroom at Pennhurst. Now we're on the third floor of the Mayflower Hall. That cackle wasn't us. We've listened multiple times. It wasn't us. We don't remember it. It wasn't caught on the video feed footage of us. I mean, we chuckled, but we didn't have a sinister cackle when we were talking about the abandoned bathroom and what might be in the abandoned bathroom. The next one is the same floor of the Mayflower Hall, and we're walking down the same exact hallway that was in that bathroom, but I reached the end of the hall, and you hear me on the recorder say, "Oh, I can't go in there," because we reached the end of the hall, and the door at the end, there's a chain up, and then the door in that little room appears to be locked, so you can't go in that room. And I was starting to turn around to walk back down the hallway to meet up with Brian so we could finish touring the rest of that floor in the Mayflower Hall.
Porter's still going. I'll just double check. Can't go down there.
Alright, here it is again. See if, just leave comments what you think it is.
still going. I just double checked it. Can't go down there. Hippie love.
What we make it out to say is, look, the people, or oh, people. You hear them say what appears to be people. I make the comment that we can't go any further, and I'm turning around to walk back down the hall, and I don't say anything else afterwards. I'm like, oh, I can't go down that way. And I go to turn back around again to be with Brian. I don't talk the rest of the way, and I didn't hear this at the time, but what we are catching on the recorder is what sounds like something people. We're not exactly sure. Besides catching those couple clips of what appear to be voices and cackles, we had lots of interference going on with the recorder. You kept hearing what sounded like haziness, almost as if something would walk in front of it, almost like a white noise, like from a TV. Those older TVs would walk in front of it anytime there was a radio frequency around. Keep in mind, we're at Pennhurst, so it's abandoned. There's nobody else there. It was just us. Our last and final experience that we had was one that I personally had at the time. It was not funny, and I still don't find it very funny. I've told people the story, people that don't believe in the paranormal, and just other people that think I'm over-exaggerating the story, which I'm not. We were down in the one tunnel underneath Rockwell Hall is where the entrance is. We go down into the tunnel. You can go left or you can go right. Left, you couldn't go very far. There was a door with a bolt on it, so you couldn't go very far. Right. Left, you couldn't go very far. There was a door with a bolt on it you couldn't get past. If you go to the right, you keep going around, and eventually you get to a set of 3 doors. You're on our Instagram page, or again, if you've watched the entire video to the end and see the footage, the photos that Brian took, the 3 sets of doors. Straight ahead, you couldn't really go into. There's a Halloween decoration was on the other side, which is scary if you're not expecting it, but that's not what I'm talking about. There's one to the left and one to the right. Right you couldn't go to. There was a chain wrapped completely around the door with 3 locks on it. No way you're getting in that door. To the left, there is a door. The chain is broken. Somebody clearly had cut the chain, not us, cut the chain, and you could push the door open. Well, we pulled the door open, not a push door. We pulled the door open, it was unlocked, and we started walking down the hall. We walked down to the end. We couldn't go any further because some of the ceiling had collapsed, so we didn't go down there. But as you get to the end, there to the left, there's stairs. To the right, there is an open area. There's a tank there. I'm guessing it was like for oil or whatever, for heat. But to the left, those stairs actually, side note, those stairs, the picture that Brian took of the stairs, Pennhurst Asylum on Instagram gave us a shout out for that picture actually. But we walked to the end. His flash stops working. And I believe I have it in the video. He says, great, my flash stopped working. We turn back around. There's a room off to the right that we kind of walked by the first time. We saw it was there, but we were trying to go as far as we could, then come back and look. The room to the right, we're standing there. We're holding the lights in. The flash still isn't really working all that great. It's being a little wonky, not really connecting. And in the other video, you hear me talking and then it randomly cuts out. The action cam dies. As soon as the action cam dies, I start feeling what feels like someone petting me on the left side of my face and down my neck. In the recorder, which I'll play the recorder in just a second, you hear a noise. The noise is just a random noise that Brian's phone randomly was doing that week prior to going to Pennhurst. But at that moment, it felt like somebody grabbed my arm when that noise went off. And at that point, you hear me say, I have to get out of here. Because as soon as we turned back from looking at that hallway and we started walking back towards that room, everybody's experienced this in their life. They get that gut feeling that something's wrong. As soon as we turn to walk into that room, I get that gut feeling. And you can hear my uneasiness on the recorder. You hear me inhaling and trying to calm down. And he asked, do you want to go in this room? And I'm like, well, I guess so. You can hear the uneasiness in my voice. And, I mean, you guys don't know me, but Brian knows me very well. He should, anyway. And he knows I'm obsessed with the paranormal. I love it. Nothing scares us for it. Our house is haunted, so it doesn't really bother us. But at that moment, he knew something was wrong because I was freaking out so bad that I wanted to get out of there. At the moment, he's trying to figure out what happened. Once we get up out of the tunnel, I explained to him what happened. He then said, I've never seen you act like that. Something was really wrong. All of that must have really been happening. And he asked in the recorder, you hear him, why didn't you say something sooner? Because like I said, it doesn't bother me. The petting every once in a while was a little weird, but what got me was as soon as we turned back around and I had that sinking feeling that something was wrong and we shouldn't be there. And then that noise with the grabbing pushed me over the edge. I couldn't stand it. But I'll play the voice recordings we have after the camera dies to kind of give you a little bit more perspective of what was happening down at the tunnels. I wouldn't go any further. I don't trust those stairs to go up either.
Of course, my flash just quit working.
I'm holding it down.
Aim it right as it is. You want to go in here?
We can.
I don't know if it's the smartest.
Better just type on the recorder. It was at 50. Stop. What is that sound? I don't know, but I really want to get the fuck out. I feel like something is touching me. I touched you. The left side or on my right side? You need to stop. Just freaking out for nothing. I feel like something's touching the left side of my neck. And you just now say something? Well, at first I ignored it, but it kept happening, and then when it beeped, I was like, fuck, okay. Why the hell would you ignore it?
Even in the just listening to the recorder, not even seeing my face in the camera or anything like that, you can tell that I'm upset and I'm worried and I want to get out. As definitely, as far, I know people say ghosts don't exist and everything like that, but as far as I'm concerned, we're concerned, he's on the same level as I am, those experiences were real, and we do in fact believe in the paranormal. Again, people always argue yes, no, it's real or not real, but the experiences we had at Pennhurst were true, and we're not just doing this because everybody's like, oh, Pennhurst is haunted, things happen, which yes, that is why we recorded for the EVPs and everything like that, especially after we went to Eastern State. If you haven't watched that video, watch that video. There's an EVP clip at the end. We wanted to know if we could catch anything. That's not why we were there. We were there to take pictures and explore, but it was kind of one of those like side burner back thing. Said if we caught anything, it would have been really cool. It would have made the trip even more exciting. And I'm sure if you watched the video, we like over everything because it was an amazing site to explore. Again, what happened to us was real. If you get the opportunity to go, I do recommend going to Pennhurst, whether you're a paranormal investigator or even just somebody who wants to observe the history of it, or just look because it is actually a historical landmark that happens to also be attracted with paranormal activity. I strongly recommend going. Don't vandalize. That's my biggest pet peeve when we go exploring places, people that have clearly broken in, not supposed to be there, and vandalizing things. They do have tours and such. They have historical tours, photography tours like we got to go on. And then they also do paranormal investigation tours as well. We actually debated about doing that, but we ended up doing the photography tour instead. They also do other camp things, and with it being close to Halloween, they do tours at the wazoo at Halloween, especially since they do haunted attractions and stuff like that at Halloween as well. I do recommend going, but again, do respectfully. Don't do it when they're not open. Don't break in. It's just not worth it. Last final thing I have to say for this video is, of course, like, subscribe, and comment on all of our other videos. We always try, if we catch anything paranormal or anything extra from our tours of anything, please check them out. They'll be there. Again, if you haven't watched our exploration of Pennhurst, watch it. If you haven't watched the Eastern State Penitentiary video, please watch that. There is an EVP clip at the end. Also, we are now doing drone photography, which was in the Pennhurst video and will be in our upcoming videos as well, as long as we're allowed to fly it and it's not going to get broken. I may have crashed it already. Just watch them. Our videos, we don't do anything illegal in our videos. We want to preserve the buildings, preserve the history. Just watch them, and we also put all of our photography we also get in there as well. Check out our website, Instagram, Twitter, and we also have a blog on Tumblr as well. Last thing I know I said that was the last thing, but this is the last thing I want to say is any of the equipment that was shown in the tour of our office that we're using, everything like that, we're not sponsored by any of these brands. Don't forget to like and subscribe.